Right. Okay. Shall we kick off then?
Yes, right now.
Okay.
That's
Right.
when they'll hear that. Your voice is the first thing everyone's going to hear and see.
Hello. Welcome to episode
17.
17.
Hey,
Yeah.
we both did our
Fucking
homework.
hell. We're all over that shit. That's something I've actually remembered. I don't know why. So yeah, hello, welcome to episode 17 of Old Bollocks with myself, Howard H. Smith, and my good friend Stephen Ivy, old head.
Oi oi.
Hello. Hello,
Um
everybody in Metal World.
yeah, we're back to give our two p
Yeah.
on the new releases. That's what they still say that over there in
Well,
England, 2p.
I'll deliver my two pence, my two penneth, my two pence worth, and you can give you chuck in your 2 cents,
Yeah.
and and between us, yeah, we've got less than 5p. So there you go.
Yeah, which you fucking nothing these days.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of metal, because we are going to be, I'm off to Bloodstock on Friday. Today is not Friday. It's earlier than that. It's Monday. So yeah. And I'm going to be actually seeing a band whose album I'm going to be talking about as well, which is kind of weird.
Sweet, sweet.
And
So what that means by the time this comes out on my channel, you will have already been to Bloodstock. So
yeah, yeah. For Bloodstock was great. Wow, that was
I
brilliant.
can't believe they did that, right?
No, absolutely. Tom G Warrior as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I'm heading there, and yeah, I'm going to be talking about, and it's weird because it's an album that's been out a while, and I don't know why, but it's been lurking in my subconscious. So I've gone back to it, and I've given it a few more spin, and it's really growing on me. And ta-da, I'm seeing them on Friday, so it's kind of like and it's a band who I don't like anything of. I've never liked anything before, so that's always kind of exciting.
It's yeah. I'm not gonna talk about. I'll briefly mention it just because it's a big deal for me. But I love how that happens, where something happens and you find yourself getting into a band that for a long time you've been kind of like, okay. Because that just happened to me with Ghost. And
Oh my God.
I don't know how, because I liked the first Ghost album, but after that I kind of fell off. And
Yeah.
I do these. There's an app that's like only available in America right now where I do radio shows during the week, and I listen to a lot of other people's radio shows, and people have been playing songs off the last Ghost album, and every time a song comes on, I'm like, I like this. This is good. So I've somehow found my way into being a Ghost fan. So
Well, you found your way back to Ghost.
yes, yeah. Because well, honestly, I think I like what they're doing now more than I liked that first album. Because now
Right.
it's more like almost like satanic Def Leppard or some shit.
Christ. I mean, that's a great description, but it's not one anybody wants, is it really?
I mean, apparently I do.
Well, it's like the meme, isn't it? The meme of like how Ghost is advertised, the Batmobile, how Ghost sounds, the mystery machine from Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
But hey, if if you found your way back to them, that's impressive.
It happens, and that's probably a big reason why, like on my channel, I'm all about just talking about the stuff that I like and not mentioning the stuff that I don't like most of the time, because I'll look
Yeah.
like a fucking idiot when years later I'm all like, Slipknot's like my favorite band now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really see that happening, but yeah, no, I mean,
No.
it's a valid point. Although it's quite rare. In fact, Avenged Sevenfold on the last episode we were talking about
Oh hell yeah.
it's very very rare that once I'm out of a band, I tend to be out of them. I mean, I do kind of check in,
Yeah.
but that's kind of it. Once you've lost me, you've lost me. And rare occasions, yeah, I find my way back, and Avenged Sevenfold was for me last month. So there you go.
Yeah. And so yeah, so I've got four new, they're all new albums I'm talking about. Before we get started though, I wanted to bring something up to you. I'm almost like
Oh.
coming to your defense. Like somebody did something to H and I'm jumping in to be like, motherfucker. So have you, this may just be me, have you seen the album cover / title of the new Cadaver album?
No, I haven't.
It is called The Age of the Offended.
Oh, right.
And
Okay.
and the album cover is just an odd looking dude standing there. And the first time I saw the title, I go, hold on a second. So I was like, okay, it's not the same words because yours was the age of entitlement and
Yeah.
theirs is the age of the offended.
Yeah.
But once I saw the cover and just I started to think about it and I go, there's no way they didn't know. They thought that they could just borrow this because it was a good idea and they just changed it to the offended. And every time I see that, I'm like, how I can't let this go. I have to
Right.
defend
Okay.
Acid Rain and H because that's too close. The Age of the Offended. Plus, it's a shit album. That's my review. Boom. And but
I've just got it up on my phone.
you know what I'm saying? It's not the exact. It's not a similar image, but the fact that that title plus an odd looking individual on the cover, it's just so like nobody listened to that Acid Rain album. We'll just take this and make it our album. So don't let them get away with it. Don't buy the Cadaver album. Don't ever go see Cadaver. I don't even really know them, but I don't like them.
I might well post a picture of that cover and go, wow, what a great concept these guys have got for an album. We might do that. We might do something similar one day.
Yeah.
Just for a laugh.
I mean, it's not like your album just came out a week ago and people didn't know about it. I mean, if you, you've been a few years and somebody in that band saw the album cover and the title.
Hey, look, maybe not. Genuinely, maybe not, because things like this do happen. I mean, I've been on bills with people where we've got almost the exact same joke, and we've written it independently.
Yeah.
And you know, Dimebag Darrell, we're all borrowing riffs, and it's so they may well have created that completely off their own bat, and yes, there are similarities, but personally, genuinely, if you know me, I'm not backwards at coming forwards, but I genuinely think that I think it's very unlikely that that is based on our album. Purely knowing the mindset of any artist as well, which is, you want your stuff to kick ass, but you also want to be able to totally own it, and you can't totally own it if it's a blatant ripoff.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you're being the better person here, but because I'm just a fan,
Yeah.
I'm the offended here.
right?
Offended.
Okay,
I'm
I've
offended
got you.
that
Yeah.
they did it. Anyway, I just thought that was so funny. I kept seeing that pop up, and every time I would go, I can't let that go.
Dude, thanks for coming to needlessly to my defense.
Well, it's only because you guys, it'd be different if you guys were a band that every time people are talking about metal, they're talking about Acid Rain. Then I'd be like, look, they don't need my help. But you guys don't get talked about anywhere near as much as you should, and so I'm constantly jumping in anytime somebody brings up, especially if they bring up anything having to do with UK thrash. I'm all like, you better fucking say Acid Rain first, and then you can talk about everybody else.
That's very kind, mate.
Anyway.
By the way, I totally agree, and that's exactly how I feel about it as well. Whenever I hear anyone talking about UK film, you better mention us first.
Yeah,
it's like we're like people in bands. We all wish each other the best, and we all hope we do really well, just not better than us. Do you know what I mean? It's that sibling rivalry, or at least it is like that for me. I think Stan from Zentrix is a lot more forgiving, sociable, less of an egomaniac.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, whatever, but yeah. So
anyway,
anyway,
and also
to
to their defense too, when it comes to modern output, I would say Zentrix is number 2. now. So, I'm very much enjoying what they're doing now. So
Well,
they'll,
to be fair, they have put two albums out. In the time, well, not in the time it's taken us to put one out, but well, actually, yeah, pretty much because they came out within months of each other.
yeah, yeah.
But hey, that's how it is. Let's review some new shit instead of going on about old shit.
All right. Well, hey,
Yeah?
that actually might be a nice segue to start things off by reviewing something that's new and old at the same time.
Oh, I can't imagine what's coming next. Could it be something I sent you?
Well, if we were talking about Cavalera,
Yeah.
then yeah. So I mean, it's you did send me these, but I've since gotten the
Yeah.
vinyls and I've gotten to
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
listen to them several times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Cavalera, and it's been confirmed by Max's wife that it's actually just Cavalera and not Cavalera Conspiracy. But because
Oh,
of the
yeah.
way
Yeah.
because of the way shit works with streaming and stuff, it had to be connected to the name
Yeah.
Cavalera Conspiracy. But anyway, it's Cavalera, Igor and Max re-recording these original Sepultura, the first EP, Bestial Devastation, and then the first album, Morbid Visions. And I think I've been very vocal in the past about not liking re-recordings. It's like it's very rare, especially when years have gone by. Like I understand doing a version of a song early on in your career and it doesn't sound very good, and then maybe on the next album you beef it up and record it again. But it's like I'm like a massive Anthrax fan, and I own every piece of vinyl by Anthrax I've ever been able to get my hands on. But I will not buy the Greater of Two Evils, where they just re-recorded Joey stuff with John singing, because I'm so against it. That being said, the first time I heard a track off of the Cavalera re-recorded Morbid Visions, I was like, I'm listening. And it has to do mostly because those original recordings, not only are they not very well recorded, but in some cases they didn't even tune the guitars, which I love because it reminds me a little bit of Moshkinstein, because there's some songs on Moshkinstein where I'm like, they needed to tune that before they recorded that.
It's close.
Yeah. But that being said, once I got my hands on the whole recording and was able to hear it, I had a blast listening to these. I think that if I had the choice, I'd probably still go listen to the old ones because I like the old raw sound. But for a re-recording, it sounds fucking good. The energy is great. Performances are great. It's a little bit more of a modern production, but not trying to sound modern.
Yeah.
But I don't really have a lot to add because it's a re-recording. But if you're wondering if it's good or not, I old head thinks that it sounds really good. What do you think?
Well, first up, hands up, not really bothered about the EP or the album first time round. So it was never a big deal for me. In fact, you asking me if I had them reminded me that I did. But I did give him I was going to use the outdated phrase. I did give him a spin. Yeah. The MP3s, I span them round. And until they sounded like music. And the one thing I'd say is I can't really comment on the songs. It's just not stuff I know, but I thought the way they'd re-recorded it was really interesting because it wasn't how other re-records, which we could name Testament, Suicidal Tendencies as two of the worst.
Oh yeah,
throw in Flotsam and Jetsam as well.
Yeah.
And I love all those bands. I love the guys in those bands, but whatever.
Yeah.
But whenever anyone but with this, it just seemed like there was a different goal. It wasn't to like, right, let's re-record this with like modern day awesome production and make it sound fucking no. It was more kind of like, let's update it, but they've updated it. They haven't modernized it.
Yeah.
It's kind of, they haven't kind of fucked with the theory behind those releases, which was just do them. And those re-recordings do sound like, the production is fairly rough compared to what you would expect from, a new Soulfly album or a new Cavalera Conspiracy album even. But that's the whole point. They've tried to update it, evolution, not revolution. There you go.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the Soulfly and Cavalera, because I'm pretty sure both of those last albums were done by the same guy who did this. Because it's Arthur Risk. Although I read that Arthur Risk just mixed and mastered it, and the production was actually credited to the Cavalera brothers. But Arthur Risk is the go-to guy for, hey, we want to have modern production values with an old school sound. He's done, he had Power Trip. I think he did Enforced also. Bands that want that sound, that raw, back in the day kind of sound. And so he's the right guy to go to.
The key is live drums. Basically, that's what gives it the feel. That's what makes you go, this is kind of cool and funky and different. That's basically it. That's all I've got to say really. Apart from I really liked what they'd done with the production. I really liked how that had been done, and that's all I can offer, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I mean, it's there's no point in going much further into it. It's just one of those things where is it, people ask, do you think it's good or not? And the answer for me would be yes. But it's like, it's only good if you're wanting something like that. Do you want this? Then you're probably going to like it. So.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't see people. I don't see anyone buying it other than diehard fans, and I genuinely can't see any diehard fans being disappointed.
That's a good point. I mean, I wasn't disappointed, but I am a big fan, and over the years, becoming more and more of a fan of all of it. Soulfly, Modern Sepultura, all that stuff. Yeah. As time goes on, all of that music is becoming music where I go, man, these motherfuckers have just been kicking ass. Sepultura a little bit more, in my opinion, but still.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah. So it's they're fun releases, so check them out if you want. But we can move on to whatever you got up next.
Cool. Well, I think you can probably guess what's coming next. Hang on a sec, just got to grab the CD because it's finally arrived.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It's all right. Over the other side of the room. Poor preparation on my part. You can have a word with HR about me. Have a word with HR about HS. So here we have The Fierce and the Dead. Yay!
Okay.
News from the Invisible World. So these guys were the last episode on the Talking Bollocks podcast. When the album came out, actually, and it's self-produced, self-financed, all the rest of it. They've been going years. They're all Acid Rain fans, and that's why they sent me a link to the album well in advance. And I've really got into it. It dips in and out of so many different genres as well. Like the first track, which I've played on Radio Bollocks on my Patreon radio show a few times, is kind of nearly the opening track. There's like a small intro called The Start, British humor, folks. And then the second track, Shake the Jar, which is very it's Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf era kind of vibe about it. And I was like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. That pricked my ears up immediately. But then as you go through the album, there's prog in there, there's rock, there's straight out huge metal. It's really interesting. There's a real mix of genres and vibes and feels that go on, not just like, this song is a bit Nwabum, or no, it's more kind of like it's got a different kind of feel to it, but it
Mhm.
all sort of gels together as an album, and it is very much an album as well, and it also has one of my favorite song titles uh, uh, of the modern day, well, this day, which is the last track on the album, which is called "Nostalgia Now," which
Nice.
I just love. I just
Yeah.
love. Yeah, great band. Doing a gig in London in October, sold out already. So yeah, don't come to that. Um, really, just yeah, can't speak highly enough of it. And came, you know, through the Acid Rain mailbox, and yeah, just well, I bought the CD. If artists don't support artists, then who the hell is going to?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, had him on the show. Go check that out and check out the album because I loved it.
I have not heard it, but I have a feeling I've heard the song. If you've played the song a couple times, I've probably heard it.
Yeah.
I just don't recall it. But I mean, that sounds like it might be right up my alley. I do
Mhm.
like things that incorporate a lot of different elements, but in the grand scheme of things, is a rock album, which works
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, well, they're doing some lovely vinyls. I know how you feel about them. They're doing some lovely vinyls on Bandcamp. So go and have a look. Or or if you need to hear more, hit me up.
Cool. Yeah. No, for sure.
Cool.
So
Okay.
that
Well, I guess if we're playing tennis, it's back to you.
cool. Well, let's move. Do we want? Let's go ahead and talk about the album out of all of these that I'm the most excited for,
Okay.
which is Till the Dirt. Till
Yay!
the Dirt, their album Outside the Spiral, which doesn't
Yeah.
come out until August 25th here. I don't know about the UK. I'm assuming it's all the same date.
Yeah.
But for those of you who don't know, Till the Dirt is the new project from Kelly Schaefer, who is the mastermind behind one of my favorite quote unquote extreme metal bands of all time, Atheist. And he so this was a project that H had interviewed Kelly
Yeah.
a couple years ago, and then he mentioned it to me, and I remember as soon after that, like an Instagram page popped up, and I started following Till the Dirt, just sort of waiting.
Oh, you're a better man than I had no idea they'd gone social. Oh no, actually, no, I'll tell a lie. I think I had. I've got to do a shameless plug here as well.
Sure.
Yeah, so go to Talking Bollocks about 2 years ago. Use the search function at podbean.com/Talking Bollocks, Bollocks with a Z, and yeah, just put in the search bar. You'll find the Kelly interview from a couple of years ago, and I did another one last week. So there's going to be one dropping again, dropping in a couple of weeks. If you're listening to this, actually, it won't be a couple of weeks if you're watching, but it will be if you listen. Look, it's going to fucking land, all right, at the end of August 2023.
Yeah. And so I've been waiting for this because it's strange because when it comes to what I feel like Kelly Schaefer has been promoting, that has been Atheist being on tour. And so in my brain, I'm like, well, there's eventually, I guess there's going to be another Atheist album, but that's not what ended up happening. It ended up after I guess a couple years of putting everything together. He's put out this brand new project, which is him and some young blokes backing him up, called Till the Dirt, and that already made me excited because I'm an Atheist fan. But on top of that, he managed to bring out Scott Burns out of retirement after like 20 years. Because I think Obituary was the last band Scott Burns produced, and I think that was 2000. I want to say 2002, maybe 2003. I don't know. So that made me really excited. Now the weird thing is, I see on some of the publicity for this, they keep saying Steve DiGiorgio, but I don't think he actually plays on the album.
He plays on one song.
He plays on one song. Okay.
Yeah.
Which that's also exciting. But the rest of the musicians, from what I can gather, are just other younger dudes that are in random other bands that I don't know. But
Yeah, some have now. I can give you the update, having spoken to Kelly. Some are also in Atheist now. There are members in both bands because a year ago there was a cancelled tour of Europe and UK with 2 days notice, and there was. I get into that in the interview with him.
okay.
So and the actual Till the Dirt album, he wrote and recorded in the demos wrote and recorded in lockdown.
Okay.
And basically he's been trying to find a home, trying to find a label. And of course, Nuclear Blast aren't idiots.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, let's cut to the chase here. You've done a great intro there. It's fucking great.
Yeah. So
It's just fucking awesome.
now that I'm an important enough entertainment figure on the internet, I get promos now, and so I got the promo for this album, and yeah, it is one of the most interesting and exciting metal albums when it comes to the sheer surprise of it all, because it doesn't really sound like Atheist aside from the certain times when Kelly is doing kind of his normal vocal style, but on top of that he sings on it as well. But the songs are, and I mean this in the best way possible, they are all over the place when it comes to what would you categorize them as, because you'll hear stuff that sounds a little more like a grindcore or death metal, followed by something that could be a fucking Alice in Chains song. It's just, but it doesn't feel disjointed. And so I think that's the thing that's made me so happy with this album now that I've heard it all the way through, is that I'm so like, I didn't expect this. And even when I was expecting it, I would not have expected it to be this good. It is. Now I'm not 100% in love with the drum sound on this album. That might just be me. But overall, it's just this crazy, unique metal album that, if nothing else, it really shows that, man, Kelly Schaefer still has so much fuel left in the tank.
Oh,
and
oh hell yeah! I can tell you that, enough for 2 Kelly Schaefers.
Yeah, and so it's great. So yeah, it comes out on the 25th. Produced by Scott Burns. It's called Till the Dirt's the band. You have anything else to add on this? Because we could just go on talking about how good it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's an extreme metal record with some of the I wouldn't even say mellower moments, because it's not as extreme like Atheist is extreme. So you could be having like jazz acoustic guitar and then you head down into blast beats. No, not that. It kind of occupies a place in metal, which is, well, it's just Till the Dirt at the moment. That's it. I mean, I personally, I think it's that good that if I was in a band, and I heard that, I would be thinking, do you know what? That's a really good idea, what he's doing there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's that good. I think it's the kind of album that could start a new little kind of subgenre, because the intensity, extremity, everything you mentioned. There's one word as well that you don't say very often when you're talking about the kind of record that this is, and that's catchy.
Yeah.
You'll find yourself walking around the house going,
yeah. It's got a lot of those moments.
What the hell is that? And the weird thing is, what I found with humming Till the Dirt melodies is that the melodies are like, oh yeah, that's really nice. I don't think, where's that from? I don't listen to music like this. Where's that from? Oh, Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kelly's in
Yeah.
my head.
And not only that, it is the literally the definition. I could say the word engaging, because the couple times I've listened to the album all the way through, there are, you listen to something that so catches you off guard and is so good that you stop whatever you're doing, and you're almost
Yeah.
like you're leaning in, even though you're not listening, might be listening on
Yeah.
headphones. It doesn't matter. You're still leaning in. And I found myself leaning in so many times during the album that I'm just like, whoa, 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 what's happening here? That is good. And so,
Yeah.
I don't even think I'm doing it justice. I really think that it's the kind of thing where just everyone's just going to have to listen to. There's two songs already available to go listen to, Outside the Spiral, and I don't remember the name of the other one, but they're both fucking killer. And it makes me really interested. Now, obviously, I'll have to go listen to your interview when it comes out, but
Obviously.
but it makes me curious about what this means for Atheist, because honestly,
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Atheist is just Kelly Schaefer anyway.
Yeah,
So
it's all going to be covered very, very soon. I'm lucky enough. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm lucky enough to have the answers to these questions.
cool.
There's a new Atheist album written, and Till the Dirt is another band, but it does have members that cross over. So that's so he's either doing Till the Dirt or doing Atheist.
That's exciting.
And whatever opportunities come up, they'll take as and when they come. So they could be, they could actually be on the road supporting Till the Dirt album before a new Atheist album gets out.
Yeah,
It's all just kind of mashed up together, I guess.
I'm
But
here for
yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. So that comes out pretty soon. Keep an eye. If you're not already, first off, you should go to H's Patreon, because that's a good way to keep updated on all the stuff he's doing. But if, on your podcast player of choice, I'm pretty sure you can go and like subscribe to a podcast so you immediately know when a
Absolutely,
new
yeah.
episode comes out. And then you'll see Kelly Schaefer, boom, pop up, and you'll get all of the details. So
Come on in, folks. Come on in, especially to Patreon, because I love money. Oh yeah, I'm making billions off Patreon.
we'll move on from that, because till the dirt's, it's great. It just yeah. I've got two more to talk about, both of
Me
which
too.
you're not going to talk about. So why don't you go first here?
Okay, right. Well, this is I get sent a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff comes across my desk, and it's not often I pick something up and take an interest. In this case, it was an album by a German band, and the name drew me to them immediately. They're called The Idiots. And the album is called König der Idioten, which I think is proud to be an idiot,
Okay.
or something like that. It is out. It is 12 tracks, and it's some are sung in English, some are not. If you like stuff like Broken Bones, the Sperm Birds, the Stupids,
It's funny when you said the idiots. That's the first thing I thought about. I was like the stupids.
Exactly. Yeah. But it sounds great. It's not overproduced. It's got a modern production, but it still sounds slightly rough. They've got a sense of humor. As I said, some songs are in German, some in English. I mean, there's a song called "Fuck the System," "Fuck the System," "Fuck the State," and it's like, Jesus, these guys could just be like from down the street.
Yeah.
And I'd say like GBH, Exploited, old school kind of punk, but with that a kind of new school vibe as well. Lots of energy. I know very, very little about them. I'm going to try and get them on the podcast. I mean, I know the publicist, so if they're doing interviews, then I'm definitely going to get them on the podcast. And it's one of those albums that it's been sneaking up on me. It's like, oh, the Idiots. Oh, and I listened to it once, kind of half listening, going, yeah, cool. Yeah, it's what I thought it was. Oh, or was hoping it was going to be. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, great. It ticks all those. And next time you listen to it, you go, oh, yeah, this again. Cool. And then it's like about the third or fourth listen, and you start going, yeah, this is actually like I'm paying attention now, and I'm waiting for the weak track, and I'm like, I'm at the end of the album and going, yeah, right, okay, I really like that. So I got it a little while ago from the press office, and it's really grown on me. And that there's also, because they're German, there's a little bit of a Spermbirds vibe there, and they're one of my favorite all-time punk bands. So knocking against an open door with me, gotta say, knocking against an open door, because I say it everywhere I fucking go at the moment. So yeah, I absolutely love it. Go check it out. Try and find it. The Idiots, the Idiots, and König der Idioten.
Nice.
That's it. That's it. Go find them.
And
go find them. The Idiots.
And then go listen to Jesus Meets the Stupids. Because I love that one. It's funny. This just made me think of this because they, you and other people always tell me that I kind of seem like I belong in the UK because there's all this music that isn't really known over here that I find myself being into. And it's funny because my wife and I recently did that, like the heritage type stuff where you get your DNA and they find out like where your family is connected from and everything,
Yeah.
And my wife's Mexican, and so hers is literally all over the world. She has things connected. Me, it's all Europe. It's all Ireland, Scotland. But the thing that I thought was so interesting is that there's a big portion of like my family way back in the day that is around the Cornwall area. And which is funny because that's where Eddie Sparks lives. And I'm like, this is interesting. So it's almost like I was meant to be from a small town in England somewhere.
Well, I look, as long-time listeners and viewers will know, I think you found your place fronting Amon Amarth. That's the right thing.
Yeah,
that's the place for you.
Which I would never be happy with that. But
who would have thought that all your heritage would come from Europe, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, but I was so disappointed because I was like, come on, tell me there's some Native American, and my wife's like,
something exotic.
My wife goes, nope. It's like, you're just the whitest motherfucker on the planet. I'm like, all right, cool, all right. It's not very much of a surprise, but anyway, I thought that was funny that it's like that she was reading off this area and she said Cornwall, and I was like, Cornwall, okay, all right, cool.
That's bizarre. That's absolutely bizarre.
Anyway, so yeah,
next album,
The Idiots. Now we're moving on to
The Idiots.
Let's move on to speaking of the UK, a band from the UK. The 8th album from Skindred just came out on the 4th of August. It's called Smile, and it's been a long time coming because I feel like the first single from it was almost a year ago, and I was like, man, it took a long time to put this fucking album out. And my whole relationship with Skindred started because of this show, because of the last Dub War album. The Dub War album came out, and I was really surprised at how much I loved it. It ended up on my top 10 of the year. So because of that, people are like, oh, you love Dub War, you got to get into Skindred, because that's Benji's main band now. And so I've slowly but surely gotten into Skindred. I have to admit I'm more of a Dub War guy than a Skindred guy. But I kept hearing songs from this new Skindred album, and they were all just so much fun. that I was like, fuck yeah, I'm into this. And so, and the album, that's literally the best way I can describe it. The album is called Smile, and I smiled pretty much the entire way through the album
Oh, that's
because
cool.
it to me it's nowhere near as good as the Dub War album. I don't know. I think there's something missing, but I think it's because the Skindred thing is much more poppy and it's hard. It's hard. Poppy is the best way I can put it because there are songs that if you took the hook from the chorus and just gave it to Taylor Swift or somebody else, it would be a hit song. Like it's those kind of melodies and choruses. But it goes all over the place. It's got some shit that's full on like new metal sounding, really beefy production with good grooves and riffs, all the way to stuff that's a little more like a reggae kind of feel occasionally, or ska, or just some sort of funk kind of thing. But they go all over the place. But once again, the glue that keeps it all together for me is just Benji, because I've become a huge fan of just him singing anything, because he's a fucking great vocalist and really sells a melody. I'm telling you, man. So I do really like this album. Some of the songs are a little bit weaker for me, but I think they'll probably grow on me. But I have to admit, when it comes to first listen, like right out of the gate, it did not have the impact that the Dub War album had for me. But I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it makes sense. They seem like overall, while they have that similar vibe of Benji's involved and they kind of take different elements from different things. Skindred's is a little more. I guess it's the edges are smoothed out a little bit more there, and I think I enjoy the edges of Dub War. But this new Skindred album is, if you want to have a good time, literally, if you're just like, hey, you know what, I want to hear some rock music, but I also want to have a really good time, then there you go. Skindred pretty much fucking nailed it, and yeah, I don't. There's not a lot more to add to it. It's just one of those albums that if you're in the mood for it, you're gonna have a nice time. Yeah, Skindred. It's fun.
That's cool, man.
Put that on the album cover. It's fun.
Absolutely. Well, and that's not something you can say about a metal album very often,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I mean, like we were saying about Till the Dirt earlier, you don't have to use the word catchy for that kind of music. And yeah,
yeah.
you don't imagine metal as, I don't imagine metal as a good time genre, you know.
So I mean, sometimes, but yeah,
it not foremost. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
no,
It's not
no.
what springs to mind.
In fact, I would say some people take it way too seriously.
Oh well, if something exists, people can take it too seriously. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I've got my final album here,
Okay.
and this was one that I was kind of foreshadowing earlier, who I'm going to be seeing at Bloodstock on Friday, which is
Oh.
In Flames.
Okay.
And the album is called Foregone, and I think I might have mentioned it on the show before.
I don't think so. I don't remember
No?
it if you did.
Right. I mean, I think I might have mentioned it. I'm not sure, but it was like, even so, I've come back to it. And I've never liked anything by In Flames before.
Mhm.
And I can't say I'm going to go hunting through the back catalogue just yet.
Yeah.
But this album has, again, theme for the show for me. It's drawn me back to it, and it's demanded to be played. And there is sections of it where I'm thinking this is like soil work high in its quality. It's like high peak soil work kind of quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't remember ever getting that from In Flames before. There are two songs, funnily enough. The title track is Foregone, Part 1 and Part 2, which is interesting because Part 2 starts with almost kind of like medieval guitar riff. Bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like the fact that the very last song is called End of Transmission. And the the last line on the album is end transmission because no one's listening.
Oh.
It's like, yeah, I was just like, that's really good. That's a cool way
Mhm.
to finish an album, you know? And yeah, just the whole album. There's catchy choruses, there's shredding, there's fucking, you know, intense riffing, heads down thrash. There's some great vocals, and some massive choruses. So yeah, all in all, I'm like, oh, I've jumped aboard the In Flames train. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Hey.
Completely out of nowhere. Now, I did catch. I'm such a sucker for not doing research, but I saw a quote by somebody who was in Act of Defiance, the band that was formed by the guys who left Megadeth,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and that split up because the guitarist joined In Flames.
Oh, okay.
And I'm kind of wondering if that guy coming to the band has like had an effect on it that's just changed it slightly, and now I like them. Or hey, album might have been finished. You know, I don't
Yeah.
know. Either way, I know he's in them, and that this album is really fucking good. It's really good.
Cool. I'm not a fan. I've heard tracks off of that and it didn't win me over. So, but that's,
Yeah.
but there, I think In Flames falls in this category of metal band that for some reason doesn't do it for me.
I totally agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree. You know,
Yeah.
that is me. Apart from this album, that is me all over.
Mhm.
Don't know what the fuss was about. It's always been the guitar tone for me that, frankly, that I've had a bit of a problem with. It's just like that Scandi guitar tone that, like, sometimes it's like I like that Scandi guitar sound, and sometimes it's like no, it's a little bit muffled.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, yeah, really liking Foregone, In Flames. Check that shit out. Can't believe it. Wow.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I love when that shit happens. That's why I'm always just like, I want some band that I absolutely loathe to put out an album that makes me go, holy shit. Which, you know, which is last time with Avenged Sevenfold. But,
Yeah,
but I
absolutely.
love it. So I'm always open for that. And that's probably why, like, a lot of these, like In Flames is a band, you know the name. A new album comes out, I always go and like listen to a couple tracks, even the bands that I'm not into, because I'm like, it's gonna happen. I have a feeling. If it doesn't happen, that's fine. But I don't want to miss out on the chance that it will, because those are always my favorite moments when
Yeah,
something really catches me off guard. And I'm like, shit, I'm into this now. So that's
yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
All right, so my last one is a probably unknown to pretty much everybody that's listening to this.
Including me, folks. I don't know
Yes.
what it is.
So this is the third album from a band called The Gorge, and the album is called Mechanical Fiction. They're a band from St. Louis, Missouri, and I did not know them before this album. This was one of those things where I randomly saw a video. I don't even know where it was, and it was literally just a 30-second clip of these dudes in a practice space playing a song, and I go, what fucking time signature is that? And so I decided to go check out more about them. So they are, the best way I can describe it is technical prog metal with aggressive vocals.
I think I think my path has crossed with the Gorge before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these guys, from what I've read, are actually like in their day jobs, they are session musicians for jazz artists.
Yes. Yeah. I am aware of the Gorge. Yes.
But this album is so fucking good. And as a musician and songwriter, it has that added thing of having moments that are very memorable, and but at the same time, I sit there sometimes and I try to think of how hard it was, one, to write that part, two, explain it to somebody else that had to play it with you. But it's not they do a lot of the odd time signature and stuff, but they don't overdo it. It doesn't take away from the song. But sometimes it almost reminds me of if you took like early Mastodon, but then just made it technical and proggy as fuck. That's what the Gorge sounds like. It's so impressive to me, and it just gets better with every listen. But it's just if you love prog metal, but you don't want the vocalist to be like this is for you because he's just barking the entire fucking time on top of this crazy technical prog metal, and so it's great. They I don't know how I didn't know them before, but now I really do, and I'm very interested. And this album could be a top 10 contender just because every time I hear it, there's another part of it where I'm just like, this is on this fucking album too. Jesus, it's great, very well done. Super surprised at the quality of it, and yeah, the Gorge is the name of the group.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well,
So yeah, that pretty much wraps it all up.
well, dude, I'm pleased for you. I also think, like, I don't know. I think I would probably prefer singy vocals on the Gorge, but I'm intrigued. So I'll have to check them out, and try and check out the Fierce and the Dead as well.
Yes, for sure. And everybody out there, check out all the things we talked about.
Absolutely. And tomorrow night, I'm going to check out Sacred Reich.
Oh shit!
And then I'm going to be seeing him on Friday as well. What? Because Bloodstock. Everyone's there, man. I'm going to be seeing Meshuggah, Megadeth, Sepultura, Sacred Reich, Triptychon plays Celtic Frost.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cavalcade of heavy metal awesomeness. As it always is.
In 2 weeks' time, or less than 2 weeks, actually, when this comes out on YouTube, it'll be 1 week. I will be going to the weekend-long Metallica extravaganza in Arlington, Texas, which are the shows that are going to be broadcast in theaters around the world. So you might see Old Head on the big screen. Now, my
big screen debut, folks.
Now, my wife and my wife and I, our seats are kind of in the nosebleeds, so I'm just like, look, I'm just gonna wear my Old Head hat, and maybe the camera will zoom in that direction at one point. But I'm looking forward to that. It's a nice little vacation for me and my wife, and it's kind of cool because the shows are there's a day gap between the shows, so we're going Friday. Watch night one where they're playing two completely different sets each night. And so we do night one, then we have an entire Saturday just to fuck around in Arlington, and then Sunday is the second one. And everything that I have heard so far about this show, it sounds fucking amazing. So I'm just if Alex Skolnick says it's an amazing show, I'm on board.
Fair enough, mate. All I can say is if I do end up seeing you on the big screen, which is unlikely because I'm not going to it, but
just throw popcorn at me.
No, if anybody sees your face on the big screen, it means something's gone drastically fucking wrong. Yeah, if the cameras are trawling for reactions of people in the gods, then yeah, they're as far away from stage as possible.
Hey, you know what they do? Some artists do those things where they go and try to find those big fans that aren't rich, and so they're way up in the top. They might come find me and be like, you look interesting. Come down to the snake pit. And I'll be like, hell yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I can dream. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, you can dream indeed. Yeah. That sounds awesome, man. And yeah, that's a thing. You presumably Arlington. You're going to be going to the cemetery.
No, but I'm glad that you remembered.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's the only thing I know about Arlington, and that's because it's like it's in so many movies.
I mean, it's such a meaningless city that even Metallica is like, we're going to be in Dallas, and I'm like, not technically no, but okay, you're going to be in Dallas.
Yeah.
All right, well, yeah, that's all we got. We're both going to
Yeah.
go see some. I mean, I would like festivals like Bloodstock to start happening in the U.S., but whenever they do, like there's one that happens
Yeah.
in my town called Hell's Heroes, and they announced the lineup, and it's just all like boomer metal. It's just like shit that I'm so not interested in seeing.
Yeah.
Aside from Forbidden's going to be there, and I'm like, okay, I'd like to see that, but everything else is just this middle of the road heavy metal, like for fans that when they think heavy metal they think somebody holding up a sword, and I'm just like,
Right.
I just
Yeah.
can't get behind that shit. But anyway,
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. You just don't have a festival culture in the US. You know, that's it
no,
basically. You
I mean
don't.
they're
But you have things we don't. Like you have tailgate parties and stuff like that. Like you know, we no, but I'm honestly,
yeah,
genuinely, that's
yeah.
that is that is a thing. It's a thing. We have picnics. You have tailgate parties. You know.
I mean we do, but I
So
don't go to tailgate parties. But
no, I wasn't sure if you'd go, if you'd have one, if you'd host one. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I'm
Don't know what the
assuming
law
that's
is.
normally before sporting events, and I don't go to sporting events, so
Right.
there you go.
Fair enough. All right. I was under the impression that that kind of happened at big gigs as well.
Yeah,
But
you would
maybe
hope
not.
you would hope that you show up and it's like heavy metal parking lot, but it's usually not.
Well,
It's
Overkill are playing the parking lot, mate.
oh yeah, yeah, they are. Not
So
where
there must
not
be
where
something. There
not
must
in
be
my
something
town,
going
but they
on.
are. Yeah. That's the thing that's so interesting is that not only do they have, two different shows with different opening acts, but during the day, there if you have a ticket, there are free shows with other bands playing. I'm just like, man, they really are going all out. But okay, but enough about that. Anyone
Yes.
anyone
Yeah.
anyone that gives two shits about Metallica already knows all about it.
And already is already subscribed to your channel.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's where they go for that shit.
video forthcoming on all that. Anyway,
Cool.
cool. So yeah, as always, an absolute pleasure. H.
Always a pleasure, sir.
And just in
Dear
case,
listeners, dear viewers, it's always a pleasure to see and speak to you as well.
and also before we go, I just want to get this in one last time. Fuck Cadaver. Don't go listen to their album.
I have no ill feelings towards Gadaver whatsoever.
I do. All right.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Well, thanks for listening and watching, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, folks. Make sure you subscribe.